The other day, I went and I bought raw milk with
Wow.
Bitcoin. And you know what? It's funny
Wow.
because the day I went, the guy was like, you're a first customer that has purchased with Bitcoin. I'm like, yeah,
Really?
yes. It's really hard to find a doctor that will actually want to get to the root of the problem. To me, when I take my dog to the vet, they ask me what he eats. When I go to the doctor, they don't ask me what I eat. They should be asking me
No.
what I eat because at the end of the day, you are what you eat. I think that I've been a Bitcoiner unconsciously because my dad,
Yeah.
he started buying houses, and there was one point where he owned like 5 houses that he was renting out.
Wow.
But 2007 hit, 2008, and 2007, guess what happened? We all know what
Yep.
happened then. You know what happened?
Yep.
And unfortunately, my dad found himself in a really bad spot because of it.
Yes.
And he's
Yep.
no longer with us
Mm.
because of what happened in 2007. For somehow, that's just stay with me, just how mad I am
Mhm.
that the banks got bailed out, but the people didn't.
Mhm.
It's so unfair.
Yep.
And that's why I cannot stand banks.
What was the most challenging part about Bitcoin for you?
Back then, I was really scared of rich people.
Yes.
They pass down assets to their kids. Well,
Yes.
Bitcoin is the greatest asset right now. Teach your kids
Yeah.
about it. Teach your kids about financial education. Teach them about what assets are. Teach them about
Mhm.
money and get on basic Bitcoin books, just so that they can get
Yeah.
started, so they can learn. And I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they'll go down that rabbit hole just like we did.
Right. That's great. My last question is, let me tell you exactly what you'll get if you subscribe to Raising Satoshi. Each video you'll hear from real parents, real educators, not influencers, not experts, just everyday people trying to figure out how to explain Bitcoin to their kids. And the best part of all, we keep it simple. No complicated charts, no confusing language, just real conversations that you can actually understand and use. You'll even walk away with things that you can try at home. How to explain Bitcoin to your kids, how to talk about savings. You'll also hear the real moments, the funny questions, the confusion, sometimes my daughter interrupting the interview, and of course, the wins. So if you ever thought, am I too late? How do I start? What if I'm still learning myself? Then this is for you. Subscribe to Raising Satoshi, and each video will give you simple, real ways to start building a better financial future for your family. One conversation at a time, one lesson at a time, one sat at a time. Welcome to Raising Satoshi. I am so excited to be interviewing Midy. Midy, welcome to Raising Satoshi.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Midy, do you mind telling the audience just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am from Dominican origin. I have two children, two live children.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I don't know if that helps, but that's a little
It
bit of
does.
background.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Uh,
Well, how
yeah,
about your Bitcoin journey? Like, how did you, because people always say like Bitcoin finds you or you find Bitcoin, whatever way it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Did it
Bitcoin
find
definitely
you?
found me.
Okay.
It
Okay.
definitely found me. And I
Yeah.
had no clue, but this is an interesting story. Back in 2020, during
Mm-hmm.
the thing that happened,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The
this
thing.
was around March of 2020.
Okay.
So I had a friend, a really close friend that came to me. He said, "Oh, I have this great investment opportunity, and all you have to do is get this Coinbase account, and you have to buy Bitcoin, and then from there you have to send it over to this other platform." And what this company was doing, they were called Mind Capital, which turned out to be
Okay.
scammers.
Oh,
What
wow.
they were doing is they were doing arbitrage, so between the exchanges. So they
Mm.
were taking advantage of the different prices of Bitcoin between the exchanges. So they were
Wow.
earning money, and what they did, they would split the earnings with the investors, us. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So if everything was fine, everything was great
Hmm. Hmm.
until Bitcoin's price skyrocketed and they were like, okay, a lot of people, there was people that invested a lot of money. I didn't put in that much money. But what happened is they decided to shut it down and they
Hmm.
told us that they were willing to give us back our initial investment, but they were keeping the earnings. So I lost about $4,000 there.
Is that the
But
one where like if you bought someone in, like if you like I think I've heard of this where like you could, I don't know if it's the same one, but I remember around that time period, some of my friends were doing it. Like, okay, say for instance, I bought Susie in and Susie came under me, then Susie would be under my umbrella. And it's like I could still invest like however much I wanted to, but then were you earning a percentage on that investment that of Bitcoin that you would put in?
I'm not sure, but the
Okay.
guy that brought us all in, I forgot who he used to work for the city or something, and he had quit his job and everything, and he was bringing all these
Right.
people in. But everything looked legit. Like the platform looked legit. Everything was fine, and we
Yeah.
would see every day the earnings, and they were growing.
Right. Right.
But it's a Ponzi scheme, right? It's a scam,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It sounds similar
so.
because the site was legit. Like my friend was like, you can pull out your money anytime. There's no delays. I never did it. It looked very promising. It's kind of like those situations where people like when you jump on in the very beginning, like you make so much money so fast. So it sounds so similar. I'm gonna have to look it up because I think I still have it in my text history with her. So you lost money and then how did it affect you in terms of like, oh, did you feel like Bitcoin was a scam then too, or no?
Um, no, I actually didn't lose money because like your friend said, you could pull the money out.
Okay. Okay.
We had that capability of pulling the money out. So I actually pulled out my initial investment. So they actually lost money on me because I pulled a little bit more. I should have pulled
Oh, good.
everything out before,
Right.
everything went down.
Right.
But yeah, like once that all happened, this was in November of 2020.
Okay.
And then I don't know what happened. I just kept thinking about it, and I didn't really
Hmm.
think it had anything to do with Bitcoin. I just got curious, and I was like, well, "Why are these people so interested in this Bitcoin?" Like
Hmm.
I had
Hmm.
no clue. So then I just started Googling and researching, and then that's when it just led me to Clubhouse. I don't know if you remember
Yes.
Clubhouse.
Yes. Yes.
I was there. I used to be in the Bitcoin room
Right.
every day at 6 a.m. because I wake up early, and I
Okay.
was there
Okay.
every day just listening and learning. And I never spoke or anything. I was just there, just soaking it all in, soaking it all in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Those Clubhouse days were like incredible because I remember in 20, I think it was like 2021. Yeah, like 2021, that time period, like you could join
Hmm.
Clubhouse at any point of the day and there would be a Bitcoin space. Like no
Yes.
matter a Bitcoin room, as they say. And it was just so interesting because I think what I
Hmm.
liked about those Clubhouse rooms was that they kept it so simple, like very easy to understand. And that's how like my cousin and I, we like to explain stuff. Like we don't like to make it overcomplicated. So
Hmm.
it was just like, I felt like, and you could relate to different people who would speak, on Clubhouse. Um, and I just felt like it was just a very easy way to orange pill people. And those rooms used to be crowded. Like it used to be so many
Yes.
people. Oh my
Yes.
God. Yeah.
Yes, and it was. I think I learned a lot from them, and I love going into the spaces, even though I was just
Hmm.
there listening, and I was never
Right.
a speaker, but I was just learning so much because I just was very curious about it, and once I started joining those spaces and learning it, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's like the light bulb went off, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Because when that
it was
light bulb goes
good.
off, yeah. Because when that light bulb goes off, like what happened to me, it felt like I wanted to kind of learn as much as I could in such a short period. So like I was just like studying and trying to read this and look at this and go on YouTube. And at some points it kind of became a little overwhelming, right? Because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm behind. I don't know. But I think that's like all a part of the journey,
Yeah.
that
You always think you're too late, you know?
yes,
You're like, oh my
yes,
gosh, I'm late. I'm late to
right.
this. Even though Bitcoin at the time was like $10,000.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes I do and I don't tell people like when I first found out about Bitcoin because
Yeah.
sometimes like people assume that just because when you found out about it, if it was like such a lower price than what it is now, which is
Yeah.
it was, right? That you jumped all the way in. Right? Like
Oh, yeah.
and
No.
that's not true. And it's like
No, I wish I had money to jump all in, but I didn't
right,
have the
right,
money.
right, right, right.
I'm barely DCAing, a little bit here, a little bit that. So no, there's no way, I don't have that kind of capital.
Right. And I think it's because of the fiat system that we're in that's the reason why you can't jump all the way in because you still have bills, you have children, you have, expenses,
Exactly.
you have all these different things going on that it's like,
Mhm.
no. So like people always say, "Oh, I wish I found out about it sooner," but it's like even if you didn't find out about it sooner doesn't necessarily mean that you would have put your whole life savings into Bitcoin. I
Exactly.
don't
Especially if it's something that's new. I mean, you're still learning about it.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I wish I would have been that much of a risk taker back then,
Right,
but I
right.
was just learning and I liked what I
Yeah.
was listening to. It made sense.
Did you like when you were listening to those Clubhouse rooms and you were kinda learning about it, I guess, what was the most, challenging part about Bitcoin for you?
Um, I think back then, I was really scared of self-custody, and they talked about
Mm,
it a
yes,
lot. So
yes.
the first time I did it, I was so nervous. I was a nervous
Mhm.
wreck. I did a little test
Yep,
first and
yes.
but I was able to do it because I listened to the spaces and I learned. I wrote down every step, everything you needed to do. I learned and then that's how I did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I think when I first did it, like, my palms were sweating, I was sweating, I
yes.
was nervous, and I wasn't
Yeah.
even trying to transfer, like just like you said, you do a test, right? Because you learn to
Yes.
do tests, right? But even with
Mhm.
the tests, I started sweating, and I think, I love okay, so self-custody has come up quite a bit in the last over the last in, like, some of my smaller circles,
Mhm.
and I think the reality of it is that a lot of people aren't comfortable with self-custody because
Yeah.
a lot of responsibility, like you
Yeah.
yourself are the bank, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's a
and
big
if
big step to take.
exactly. And
So
it was like you forget it or you mess up, it's gone.
yeah, yeah. I think that not a lot of people are ready for it, but eventually,
Yeah,
once you learn, that's what you need to do because you need to be your own bank. You can't rely on
right.
the banks.
No,
It's
no.
funny we're talking about that. Like I just my groomer were just here, and I was telling her I was trying to orange pill her,
Oh, good,
and
good, good.
she was telling me that she was trying to take out $10,000 and they wouldn't give it to
Mm,
her. And I said, "Oh,
yep,
girl, we need to talk." I was like, "We need to talk.
yes,
You need to learn
yep,
about Bitcoin." And I literally gave her, I didn't give it to her. I loaned her the Safety Dean's book, the Bitcoin
mhm,
Standard, and I
yeah,
loaned her Gigi's 21 Lessons. I said, "You have
yes,
homework to do, and hopefully the next time you come and service my dog, I will pay you in Bitcoin." She's like, "Oh, okay, okay," because
yeah,
I think she's ready. She seemed ready.
yeah,
So, but yeah,
and
I
it's
mean,
more and it's I and I would be like, especially if she's providing a service, she can turn on that Cash App, map, and people can see that she's accepting Bitcoin. I think people get nervous about accepting Bitcoin. They feel like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make any, like, money." But at the same
mhm,
time, everybody's not gonna pay you in Bitcoin. So the few people that and I wanna say few, but, like, it's
yeah,
not gonna be all of her customers are gonna pay her in Bitcoin. So those that do, that could be her start of her savings in Bitcoin, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I told her, I said, we need to talk about this, go read the
Mhm.
books. I might send you a few, podcasts to watch. I told her I was coming on this one, and I said, when it comes out, I will send you a link so you can watch it. She's like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm so
yeah.
excited. I'm looking forward to it. So, and I think
Me
she's ready
too.
from the way she was speaking. I think
Mhm.
she's ready. She doesn't trust the government. So I said, oh,
Right.
you're ready. You are ready.
Yeah. You definitely are. And I think also too, like with just, talking to people and like hearing your story, I think that, because all of us have been in a situation where either you lost Bitcoin, I don't want to say everyone's lost Bitcoin, but there's been mistakes that everyone has made in the Bitcoin journey. And I think that
Oh,
enough
yeah.
people don't talk about that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
I have lost a lot of money. I have lost a lot. I lost
right.
money, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I lost money
Hmm.
on what's this company?
Celsius?
Celsius. Yes, Celsius.
Yep. Yep.
I lost most of what I had in Celsius because I took out a
Hmm.
loan and I
Hmm.
wasn't able to take it out in time, even though there were people ringing the bells and saying you need to take it out, but I just didn't have the money to pull out in time,
Right.
and I lost it.
Right.
They gave us back some, but
Mhm.
not nearly what we lost. So
No,
lesson
and I
learned.
think that's
Lesson learned.
yeah. I'm not against people who don't want self-custody. Like, I feel like also too sometimes in the Bitcoin space, people get like a little bit too it's like they get a little too rough in the sense of you have to do this, you have to
Yeah,
do that. And I think sometimes you gotta meet people where they are. At the
exactly.
same time, they also need to go through a journey where even with Coinbase, Celsius, Grok, like all these different sites, like they're not against self-custody, but they don't wanna do it because they don't wanna be held responsible for it, but they don't
Yeah.
know what it feels like yet to not be able to get your money off of something. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. It's you just learn, those are lessons that, I've
Mhm.
learned a lot from it. I lost a lot, most of my stack, but I learned from it and I won't make that mistake again. I tell you that.
Yeah. Alright, so you have 2, like you said, 2 beautiful living children. Your middle child, I've seen him on X, like you guys are into fitness, which I love.
Yes.
You're all
Yes.
about eating healthy, like all these different things.
Mhm.
Tell me about like how that journey of you speaking to him about Bitcoin went.
Well, I think you saw the interview I had with Sean and Plan Marcus
Mhm.
on their podcast.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
when they sent me the link that it was out, I actually had my son in my car with me, and he was listening to it, and he's like, "Oh," and he seemed interested. So I was like, this is
Wow.
good."
Okay.
So he said, "Oh, wow, mom, like that sounds very interested." I'm like, I'm I'm digging it. And that happened a while ago. I had that interview with those guys a while ago, and then he forgot about it. My
Right.
son did.
Right.
But
Okay.
recently, I don't know how it came up again, and I pretty much just pushed on it. I said, "Look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna open a River account, and I'm gonna give you this much to get started." And he's working part-time right now. So all I'm
Okay.
asking you to do is put $10 as a recurring purchase. And
Yeah.
and that he's been doing that ever since I posted about it. So,
That's
you know,
amazing.
so I tell
Yeah.
him, "You can go in and you can see," and I told him, I said, "Look, the price is volatile. Sometimes it might be up, sometimes it might be down,
Mhm.
and don't even look at it. All you have to pay attention to is how much you have. Accumulation is the name of the game here. How much
Yes.
Bitcoin you
Yes.
have, not what the
Mhm.
price is saying, what you see,
Yes.
in dollar
Yes.
terms."
Yeah.
So
Do you think like the especially by because what I'm finding out as I interview more people and those who have children that are like a teenage age range, it seems like more of those parents actually have them do it. Like they have them, buy Bitcoin, set up some type of DCA versus
mhm.
so much kind of like they hear you talking about it. So I'm not saying like you guys aren't talking about it, but it seems more like parents with teenagers are more about the action, like, "Hey, go buy this, go set this up," right? And then the
Mhm.
conversations happen kinda like after or before, it doesn't really it doesn't change or vary, but do you think that because of, like, at the age that they are, that it requires more action versus, like, kinda talking?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if you don't push them, well, you give them that
Mhm,
nudge, they're not gonna do anything.
mhm,
So you
mhm.
have to. They're into gaming and they're getting into all
Yeah,
this stuff. They're not thinking about money. But what I
right.
do with my son, especially with him, if I open up a credit card account, I'll add him as
Mhm.
a authorized user so I can
Yes.
start building his credit. You know,
Yep, yep.
and he's gonna learn eventually because he's got mom here that's not, I'm not
Right.
nobody taught me all those things. Though I've learned all these things as I've gone along with life and then my
Yes.
struggles. So,
Yes. Yes.
I want the best life for my kids. So,
Yeah.
anything I can teach them. And I think it's so important to teach financial education. Like I really wish that
Mhm,
this was taught in schools. It's so important, but they don't
mhm,
teach it. And I believe it's done on
mm-mm.
purpose. They want
Yeah,
workers. They don't want free thinkers. They don't want people to think for
nope.
themselves.
Yep.
So,
I think also too because it's just like with the way that I mean, it takes you down so many different rabbit holes. I'm talking about like I've been down, oh my God. The rabbit holes I go down with Bitcoin are
yes.
sometimes I know people think like I'm a little cuckoo, but it's okay because like the school system and what's funny is I've never been a believer that just because you're super educated or you have these accolades that you're like higher than me, right? And I
Yeah.
think because of how I was raised, but I think what it seems to be, while my parents wanted the best for me and they wanted me to go to school and do all these things, there was a lot of conversations that we didn't have that because I think from their perspective, it was like, "These are things that I want you to avoid and not do," and it's like, I think just like you said, the financial education part about it, financial awareness, it's like, in my household, credit cards are kinda like a bad thing. It was like, "Oh, no,
Mm.
you get in debt." Like, it wasn't discussed like, "Oh, well, you can use a credit card, but just make sure whatever you're spending, you can pay it off that same month," right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And it's just like adding the authorized user and all these different things that you just talked about. My cousin and I, over that, that period of life, as we want to call it was so many things that we like learned about that we had never heard about. And like, again, I went to college, I got my master's, and it's like none of
Yep.
that stuff was in any course I ever and
In
it's
college,
like,
when I went to college, like
uh-huh,
I got my first credit card and all they gave me was a t-shirt.
yes,
And
like
then I just
you
started using it.
right, right. I remember Bank of America was set up on my campus, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let me go do this." And they
Same.
just give it to you.
Yeah, they gave me a
You know,
free t-shirt. They don't ask you how much you make, nothing. They
nope,
were there to give you
nothing.
credit so you can get it, so you can get in debt because that is,
Yes,
that's the name of the game, get you in debt.
yes, yes,
But at least I
yes.
was wise with mine.
Right. And like I think it's great that, these conversations that you're having with your son and your children is just like, there's a way to do things and even though like they are into other stuff, it's like what you're doing right now kind of setting him up for success later because,
Yes,
like when he's 18, 19, 20, like he already has this established credit history and, that's even though people, even into Bitcoin, you still need credit to do things. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, it's not like it goes away. And that's another thing about sometimes with Bitcoiners. Like, I know we're all pro Bitcoin. Like, okay, like this isn't about like, I'm not saying we're not pro Bitcoin, but I think sometimes we forget the fact that these, like, even though we know the scams and we know the system is trash, the system we're still required to participate in that system,
Yes.
to a degree.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
depending on what part of the world you're in too, like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a fiat-based system and, we have to use cash or credit. I wish it was all we were in a Bitcoin standard, but it's not.
Right.
You
Yeah.
right now they exist, right? So,
Yeah. They do. And I
mhm,
think like especially with like River and those type of sites, I know a few people, and I say a few, I don't
mhm.
even know them. I've heard of them. I've read some of their articles where some people who are living off the Bitcoin standard, and I think
Yeah.
that's great. And I think sites like River make it easy to do that. And don't get me
Yes.
wrong, I will say this. There's a lot of different products now that are available with Bitcoin that weren't
Mhm.
5 years ago, that weren't 10 years ago. Like, you
Yes.
can live off of Bitcoin, like, they have the debit
You
cards,
can.
they have the gift cards, you know? And now there are companies, and I think even, like, if I'm not mistaken, in the state that you're in, I won't disclose it, I've heard of houses being bought via with Bitcoin, right? That's a Now
Mhm.
granted that you gotta have a lot of Bitcoin, right? But it's not that it's
Yeah.
impossible, it's not mainstream yet. At the same time,
Mhm.
it is possible, right? Like, it's not like, "Oh,
It
you
is.
can't do it."
Mhm. No, there it is possible. There are people that only use Bitcoin. Bitcoin is so
Mhm,
liquid. You could
mhm.
just convert it to dollars and you can pay your bills. But,
Yep.
you know, everything else, you can keep, you don't have to. Like, I don't believe you have to keep any cash in the bank. Some people might
No,
disagree
no.
with me, but I don't think you need to keep any
Right.
cash. I mean, you have credit cards that you can use. You don't have to keep, I don't keep any cash in the banks. I really don't.
Me
I don't. What are they going to do? What are they going to do with your money in the bank? They're going to lend it out.
Bo
That's what they
Yep,
do.
they're borrowing against it. Mhm.
Exactly. So why
And
am I going to give them money?
and then also just like with your groomer, if you do have a certain amount of money in there, they're questioning you if you wanna withdraw it, and it's like, "It's my money." What, like, what? Why do I need to tell you why do I need my money?
Exactly.
It's a
She was
crazy.
so upset. I said, "That's why you need to have Bitcoin." And
Yeah,
I told her, I
yeah,
said, "There's a lot of Bitcoin businesses." And I've told
mhm,
her how I've bought coffee from a guy in Colombia.
yep,
I have a really close friend in my Stack Chain group that he has a merch store. He
mhm,
has is it heat printing? He makes the
yes,
merchandise like by hand.
right,
Um, Shout out to Proof of Ink.
mhm,
Um, and
other
there's just so much. The other day, I went and I bought raw milk with
wow,
Bitcoin. And you know what? It's funny
wow,
because the day I went, the guy was like, you're a first customer that has purchased with Bitcoin. I'm like, yeah,
really?
yes, yes,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. Okay, let's talk about the raw milk aspect. So, I've seen it, I've read about it, I've, watched a few videos on
Hmm.
it, and I know that it's better for you. I know it's healthier for you.
Yes.
The benefits that you're seeing with the raw milk are what?
It's just the best thing because the raw milk is not pasteurized. When they
Right.
pasteurize the milk, they kill all the, I don't, what is it, the live, whatever's
The
in milk.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Once it's pasteurized, they kill everything off. But when you drink
Mhm.
raw milk, you get all those benefits. And the thing is they scare you. They say, "No, you shouldn't drink raw milk because it's
Right,
gonna make you feel
right.
bad." And that's a flat out lie. It's a lie. It
Yeah,
tastes even better.
really.
So, yes,
So does
we've
your
been
does
lied
your son
to.
drink it too? We've
He
been lied to
does.
about a lot of things.
Oh,
He
yeah,
does,
yeah.
nice.
He does. The only thing with the raw milk, it expires faster, so you kinda have to drink it. When I went, the guy said, "You make sure you drink it within 10 days of opening it."
Yeah,
And what I did, just put a little note in on the gallon of milk, and
mhm,
so my son would know, "Don't drink it after this date." But
right.
it's good. It's great for you.
But, like, when you think about, like, how your parents, my parents, your grandparents, my grandparents, like, that was the norm. Stuff didn't last for a month. Stuff didn't last for 60 days unless they were canning or they were like preserving a certain fruit or vegetable via a
Mhm.
process that's not like grocery store process. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
when you, I don't know if you've been seeing it, but like lately I've been seeing people talk about bread. And like some people have been taking slices of bread and then they run it underwater and they show how the water doesn't break through the bread. It's kind of like a sponge, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like if you take sourdough or you take bread that's like homemade and you put it
Yes.
under the water, that it breaks right through.
Yeah.
It's funny
'Cause
because like
yeah.
my cousin, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that it doesn't have the preservatives that they put in the
Yeah.
regular bread,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why I don't know if you've seen how some people do experiments where they leave out the McDonald's bread
Mhm.
and it
Yes.
doesn't go bad. It's because it's full
Yep.
of preservatives and all that
Yes.
stuff is what's killing us, it's making us sick.
Yeah.
But people don't
Yeah.
realize it. I try to eat as close to the earth as I possibly can. I eat a lot of meat.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
a few vegetables here and there, but I'm mostly carnivore. I like sweet potatoes too. Just
Mhm.
if it
Mhm.
grows on the earth or if it's meat and protein, that's what I eat. Yeah, one
Yeah.
day I'll have a slice of pizza. It's not the end of the world.
Right. Right.
But for most of the
Right.
time, I try to eat as clean as possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always go back to look, fiat food. And when you think about, and that's why I said Bitcoin takes you down these journeys because
Yes.
everything that you think about. So even like, and I know you're into fitness as well, and I can't wait to talk about that too. But like when you think about health and you think about the medical system, especially here in America, and
Mhm.
it's like you see how corrupt and how much inflation and fiat has destroyed it. And then it's like when I was reading fiat food, I literally was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
Like
blows your
people
mind.
think, yes, I'm telling you, that John Kellogg story blew my mind. Like,
Yes.
what? And how the,
Mhm.
American Health, the associations and all these different, the Cancer Association, this association, and
Yeah,
who
they're
they're
all
backed by.
funded by the
Yes.
Rockefellers, right? By, the what's the oil guy? This was the Rockefellers or was it
So if you think about it from a standpoint of right now, like
Mhm.
the people who sit on the board of like NASDAQ, the different stock market, are the same people who are the CEO or some type of leader of Big Farm. So, like, you
Yeah.
have Big Pharma, the stock market, and then they're all on the same board. So, they're all making decisions about your health and your money. And it's like,
Yes.
don't you think that there's something wrong with that?
There's a conflict of interest in there?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I've learned recently, I saw something, like a reel or something about the oil guy. I keep forgetting.
You're talking about us, or is it not Ciros or what's his name? Because
Um,
Rockefeller's like that big
is
like
it the oil guy?
they're
Rockefeller?
no, so they were the
No.
family that basically controls like, they helped one of them was part of the Federal Reserve. Like they basically they helped start the Federal Reserve, but it's not so much just the Federal Reserve that they're involved with. It's every aspect of what you think that controls whatever a reserve can control
Yeah.
has something to do with the Rockefellers. You know what I mean? I can't think of the old
Yeah.
guy's name that you're speaking of.
I know I know you know who I'm trying to, uh,
Yeah.
referring to, but he's a guy from Oil American Oil, or I forget the name of the company. Well, the thing is that I heard someone explaining how he wanted to have a monopoly on oil, and
Mhm.
then back then he was told, "No, you cannot have a monopoly on oil." So there were
Mhm.
different oil companies. So he said,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay, then what am I gonna do with all this oil?" Well, he went, and that's when he jumped over to the medical field. And that's why we
Mhm.
have all these medications, they're petroleum
Mhm.
based, and pretty
Mhm.
much they casted out the whole holistic school, and he funded the American schools, the
Yep.
the medical school, he funded them, and then, of course, he bought them out, And now what we have is allopathic medicine. Now
Yep.
holistic is all seen as woo-woo or, something bad.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
our insurance don't cover holistic medicine. It's all
Mm-mm.
corrupt, and it's been going on
Mm-hmm.
forever,
Yes.
and if you
And
don't
it's
know, you know
yeah, because it's kind of like, when you think about someone tweeted the other day, they were talking about something that they were taking, like wormwood or some type of dandelion or something organic and natural, and not natural in the sense of sometimes that word natural can be misinterpreted as well,
Yeah.
but they were literally taking like the root, like the actual herb itself,
Mhm.
and she was being funny, but she was like, "Oh, and by the way, this isn't FDA approved, right?" And I
Yes.
thought it was funny. She was just being funny because basically most people only believe that something works for them if it's FDA approved, but it's like you don't hear
Mhm.
doctors, you don't see advertisements telling people to go drink water, to eat your fruits, to eat meat. Like you don't see these
Mhm.
type of advertisements. Advertisements
No.
you see on TV are about prescription,
Yeah.
what new prescription you can take to help heal or fix whatever illness or issue you have.
Yeah. It's really hard to find a doctor that will actually want to get to the root of the problem. To me, when I take my dog to the vet, they ask me what he eats. When I go to the doctor and something's wrong, they don't ask me what I eat. They should be asking
No.
me what I eat because, you know,
Yes.
at the end of the day, you are what you eat. You are
Yes.
what you eat.
You literally are
So,
what you eat.
yes, it's,
But because there's no
it's
money
just
in that.
crazy. It's so crazy that, the vets care more about the dogs than, the
Mhm.
doctors care
Mhm.
more about curing, or getting to the root of the problem. They're just
Right.
there to prescribe. They teach them to prescribe. And it's sad because when they have an oath to do no harm, and then all they
Yeah.
do is prescribe petroleum-based medication,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
prescribe one thing, and then that causes side effect, and then they prescribe another, and then that's why you see people with taking so many prescriptions, and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It is. It's also too, doctors only spend about, I think my friend she's in nutrition school right now. She said that doctors only spend less than 25% of their medical study
Hmm.
on nutrition. But
Yeah.
yet, most of the things, and I'm not saying all, and I know that there's outliers to everything, but the
Hmm.
majority, I feel like, in my opinion, the majority of why most people are sick is because of their gut, what they're eating.
Hmm.
And
They
our
say your
system is,
gut is your second brain. I don't know if you've heard that,
yes,
but they say that
yes,
your
yes,
gut is your second brain, and I believe that. I believe that
yeah,
with all my heart. And now that we're talking about this, I'll mention my son, my younger son,
okay,
the one that I mentioned to you that passed away. My youngest
yeah,
son, who was 7 at the time when he was diagnosed, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
wow,
And I remember now, not to give it too much information, but like his bowel movements were horrendous. They smell like death. And
mm,
now that I think about this, I'm like, there was something really wrong with his gut, and it went to his
yeah,
brain. I
yeah,
believe that with all my heart. I wish
mhm,
I would have known back then what I know
right,
now, and maybe, he'd
right,
still be here with us. But I
right,
believe that with all my heart that, he had a gut issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
My nephew, he also had a brain tumor when he was maybe like 3 or 4, and they had to do surgery in the back of his head, and I remember, and it's just like it's funny because I always tell people that while I'm more pro, like, homeopathic, holistic, in that terms of medical care, it's not like if I broke my leg, I'm gonna go to my
Of
alternative
course.
functional medicine doctor, right? I'm gonna go to
No.
the hospital, so it's like,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
right?
There is a
And
place for
you
modern medicine, there is a place for it.
yes, yes. Like, but then even like when you're hearing about, like, a lot of illnesses that are happening and diseases and like cancer and all these different things that are coming up and like people having these terminal cancers and things like that, like a lot of people are attributing it back to essentially like parasites and like you said, the gut, right? Like I don't
Yes.
think that everybody's, for example, like me and you, like, of course, my body makeup is different than yours. Like our genes are different,
Yeah.
our, cells are different. We're
Mhm.
both women, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Mhm.
similarities in terms of our pelvis and things like that. At the same time, it's funny how like different things can affect different people, but no one ever talks about like when you hear about people having like these terminal illnesses, no one ever I have yet to hear someone say like, "Well, the root cause of this was this."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
you're
Yeah, I believe cancer is there's some parasite issue there. I
mhm,
believe that with all my heart. And I won't go into
yeah,
like details, but my mom was recently diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, which is like the worst type of breast
right.
cancer that you can have. And
Mhm.
2.5 months later, after I said, Let's do this," she was cancer free. And
Wow.
she
And
just had her second scan and she's still cancer free. And it's so
yeah.
sad that when she goes to the doctor, she goes with my sister who's a nurse, and they're
Mhm.
just pushing, pushing, pushing for chemo, even though her
Yeah.
scans are clean. Like, why are you pushing for
Yeah.
chemo if you're seeing that the scans are clean,
Money,
right?
you know? Yeah. Yeah. I think also too, like sharing all these different things, about your journey and stuff, like I think when your son was listening to that podcast that you did, even though like I know children, like they show their emotions sometimes differently, they express themselves differently. And as you have three children, so each
Mhm.
child is different. But I
Yes.
do think that all these different experiences that you've just kind of shared, briefly touched upon, I think are kind of pushing him to realize why Bitcoin is important, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. He'll get there. It's funny, but I try to orange pill my 25-year-old. I have an older son who's no longer
Right.
living here at home, and I remember
Right.
I remember I bought him a $100 gift card for Christmas, $100 Bitcoin gift card.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and he it's funny because I don't know, maybe a year later or so, I asked him about
Mhm.
it, and he said, "Oh no, when it got to $200, I sold it." I said, "No."
No. Oh my
Yeah.
god. And that's just the journey. I mean, that's about the journey. I think that, like,
Yeah.
you find people do that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
they just don't know,
They
like
don't know. He just saw the amount, those he saw the dollar value. He's like, "Oh, I doubled my money, so let me sell it." But, I gave it, it was my fault because I gave it to him and I didn't really
right.
explain it. So,
Yeah. No, it's okay though. But do
yeah.
you think that, like, with everything that's kinda happened and, like, especially with your mom, with your youngest son, I think that your your reality of your life and death is different.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
your conviction of like, hey, I've seen the worst and I've seen the best. And it's like when you attribute when I like think about Bitcoin, it's like we know that fiat is a scam. We know that fiat is, what it is. And it's like when you see something that's like best, like you want to do all that you can to make it work.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll share something else. I think that I'm a true Bitcoiner because, and I think I've been a Bitcoiner unconsciously because
Yep.
my dad, did I mention already that my dad used to buy properties and things like that back in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
used to buy properties. He used to be a cook. My dad was a cook at a restaurant. But he was a
Okay.
smart man, even though he had an eighth grade education.
Yeah.
He started buying houses, and there was one point where he owned like 5 houses that he was renting out. and he was still
Wow.
working at the restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but 2007 hit, 2008, and 2007, guess what happened? We all know what
Yep.
happened then. You know what happened?
Yep.
And unfortunately, my dad found himself in a really bad spot because of it,
Yes.
and he's
Yep.
no longer with us, you know,
Mm.
because of what happened in 2007. And
The stress of
I
it,
think, yeah, I think for somehow that's just stay with me, just how mad I am
Mhm.
that the banks got bailed out, but the people didn't.
Mhm.
It's so unfair.
Yep.
You know, it's so unfair,
Yeah.
and that's why I cannot stand banks. I have my
Yeah.
mug, F the banks, Bitcoin only.
Yes. 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 Yeah, because when you learn about that, I remember that time period, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I understood it from a perspective of, "Oh, that's just what happens," right? Like, I
Yeah.
didn't understand it from a perspective of what I do now in the sense of, like, that was a planned, um, you know, they planned, programmed for it to collapse so that the
Yes.
banks could be bailed out and the common
Mhm.
people and the common person would suffer the most. And when you think
Yes.
about from real estate to health to the aspect that you can make money on, like it's always the people suffer the most, no matter what.
Yes. The people always pay the price
Yeah.
for what they do, you know? These people don't really care.
No.
Uh, they don't care, they don't really care, that the little guy is always gets stuck holding the bag.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. When you think about like that market crash, you think about 2020, you think about all these different like significant time periods. And then even when you think about what's going on right now,
mhm.
you realize how money is behind it all. And I think like with Bitcoin, it kind of opens you up to like that you want to pass down like values and true like meaning in life.
Yeah.
Because not to say that you I'm not gonna say that you can't pass good values and good meaning in life with money or like
Mhm.
fiat. I don't wanna say that. At the same time, I feel like how Bitcoin, it's no middleman, you don't know who created it. All these different attributes of Bitcoin make it, in my opinion, something of a value that I wanna pass down to my children.
Yeah,
And
it's a true
what I think
asset. It's a real asset. Like rich people,
yes,
they pass down assets to their kids. Well, Bitcoin
yes,
is the greatest asset right now. That's the
yes,
best thing you
yes,
can do. Teach your kids
yeah,
about it. And that's when
right.
they'll learn. I didn't know anything about money when I started this journey.
Mhm.
It's like I telling my groomer, I said, I had to go, I went down this rabbit hole and I learned what happened in 1913. And you
Yep.
just go, you learn what happened in 1971. I didn't know
Yep.
any of these things until I
I didn't
discovered Bitcoin.
either. No
Yeah.
idea. I was like, Richard Nixon did what? He took us off the gold standard.
Yes.
The Federal Reserve was created when? This
I
when?
had no
And then
idea.
no idea. I'm thinking we would used to like, okay, so what we did do, because I know that the 2020 period was tough for some, but like what my
Mhm.
family and I did, my cousins and I, we started reading Creature from Jekyll Island. And that thing,
Yes.
when I say that book rocked our world, like we
Yes.
would read the book and we would be screaming like, "Oh my god, what?
Yes.
They did what? This happened when?" And it's like
Yep.
I feel like until people truly understand the monetary system and
Mhm.
how it works, it's
How it all
I feel like
started.
that's how it starts.
I know that book,
Right.
a- and everyone should read that book. That is a real
Yeah.
eye opener.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you Are there like so when you're talking to your 15-year-old, I think it's
My
um
son, he's 19.
yeah, 19. Okay, when you're talking to your
Yeah.
19-year-old, is there certain values and principles that you talk about, like, outside, like, the attributes of Bitcoin where it's like, it's
Oh,
permissionless,
yes.
it's, like the values that you want him because you're passing down values as from a mom to
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
in terms of your family. But like
Oh,
when you
yeah.
think about Bitcoin, like how are those conversations?
So aside from Bitcoin, I sit down with my son and I talk to him because I'm divorced. I was in a 18-year
Mhm,
marriage and
mhm.
I'm a single mom. And I
Right.
speak to him and I said, "You are not making these mistakes. You are a man and you
Yeah.
respect women. You respect
Mhm.
women. If you go out with someone and you don't want to be with them anymore, don't go cheating. Don't go cheating. Just
Yeah.
break it up and then do your thing.
Right.
But do not go
Right.
disrespect women." He's like, "No,
Right.
mom, I know. You don't have to tell me that." I'm like, "Well, I'm just reminding you, just so you know."
Yeah.
So,
Just so you know. Yeah, because it's just like it's hard. It's hard enough in the world as it is in terms of just like day to day. It's like sometimes some of the decisions that we make as people, individuals, we make our lives more difficult versus just don't do it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
why make your life or why make your circumstances more difficult when you don't have to? And then it brings
Mhm.
unnecessary kind of drama to yourself that you could have avoided. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah, because
there's a
I'm
lot of
guilty of
things
that myself
that
too sometimes.
yeah, no, you just I mean, just move on, relationships are very important and I think everyone wants to be loved and nobody wants
Yeah,
to go around, unfortunately for me, like I was married for 18 years and
yeah,
I've been single for the past 10 years. It's been a long
right.
time and it's
Yeah,
really sad because like it's, not to badmouth men, but the men that hit on me are usually married. Like these
that's
men think because
crazy.
they have a lot of money, they think because they have a lot of
Yeah,
money, I can be their side
mhm,
chick. And I'm like,
right,
listen, just because I am single, I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone. If the right person
right,
comes along, you're
right.
welcome. But I'm not gonna be anybody's side chick after being married for 18 years, It's
No,
just
you were
ridiculous.
married. Like,
Exactly. I know what that's like. I'm not gonna be your side
right.
chick. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how
Mhm,
much money you have,
mhm,
but it's sad. Like you get DMs all the time. You see guys that
mhm.
are married or are in relationship trying to hide, pretend that they're single. But I catch on. I mean,
Yeah, you like my
I
spidey
catch on.
senses go up.
I do. And they do. They do. So you know.
Oh god. But yeah, I think also too what's interesting is that like we also live in a day and a time of the world where there's no shame anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like and here's the
Yeah.
thing. People have been cheating for hundreds of centuries, right? Like
Yes.
that's not a it's
Yes.
not a new
It's
thing.
nothing new. It's
However,
nothing new.
however, in my opinion, things were done a little bit more discreetly
Yeah.
before, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now it's kind of like it's more widely accepted.
Mhm.
It's kind of sometimes praised upon. There's songs about it. Even though, yes, I know that you can say there were songs back in the day about it, but now it's kind of glorified. And it's like you
Yeah.
wonder why you have so many people in these like situationships or whatever they want to call
Mhm.
it. And it's affecting the unit of a family. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what they're trying to destroy, the
Yes.
traditional family.
Yes.
That's my belief.
Yes.
They're trying to destroy the traditional family, and I have no problems with someone being gay, lesbian. My best friend
Right.
is a lesbian,
Right.
you know, and it's
Right.
so funny because we joke around, and she's like, "Oh, when I think I'm a guy, I suddenly get my period." And I'm like, "Darn." We joke about it, you know.
Yeah. But
But, like,
no,
the
it's
traditional
because
family is under attack, it really is.
it
Like,
is.
I have
It is.
no tolerance for all the trans nonsense, like,
Yes.
I'm very vocal about it,
Yeah.
it's just to me, it's mental illness, It's fine if you like it your sexual preference doesn't define you, but when you're a man and you're dressing up as a woman saying, "I'm a woman, and I have the same rights as a woman," no, you don't. No, you don't.
And then on top of that, when you're trying to project it onto kids, children,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, and that it's interesting because when you look at what the pushes in certain educate in like certain school systems, and you look at what the pushes and what they're allowing, and things that the different topics, the different subjects, what they're reading, and it's like, what is wrong with us?
You
Like,
know, recently I had a blowout with a family member
okay,
because I told her that there are books in elementary school that are
yeah,
that's what they're trying to get our, and she said that's a lie. I'm like, it's not a lie. I've done my research. And she didn't believe me. She didn't believe me at all. I'm
you
like, yes.
you can go into a local library and see these same books sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, depending on where you live in the world or where you live in
Mhm.
the States,
Yep.
it's like you can see the push. Like it's like they have rows of it. And I'm just like, what are
Yeah.
we trying to do here? What are we
Yeah.
trying to show
Exactly.
for a mind that's still growing and a mind that's still developing and a mind that's easily influenced by a lot of different things? Why is the
Mhm.
need to show this? That's
It just
I don't
yeah.
understand.
I mean, sex education doesn't happen till you're I don't know, I think with middle school or something. And
Maybe even
not
I remember until high
maybe
school, to be honest.
I think I was mine was in 8th grade.
Okay.
But still, there's no room. I believe that we need to let our children grow,
Beach.
be adults, turn 18, and then decide what they wanna do with their life,
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
who they wanna be, but why is this push so early on? It just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, and it's all propaganda. It's just something they're trying to
Mhm.
push to destroy the
Mhm.
traditional family,
Mhm.
and it's
And
sad.
I think it's very sad. Even when I talk to my inner circle, and just like you said, obviously we have friends of different backgrounds, different races, different sexual orientation, and
Yes.
especially when those friends who are of different sexual orientation are saying they don't agree with this. It's like it's not about me being homophobic or any of those, all these stupid terms that we have now
It has
that
nothing
like
to do with that. It
it
has
has
nothing to do
nothing
with
to do
that.
with that. It has to do with the propaganda. And I
Mhm.
and I say the same thing about when it comes to that. I feel the same when it comes to different medical stuff to promote. I say the same thing when it comes to different foods. It's all propaganda when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like the push,
Yeah.
the push of a certain agenda, and it's so like they're pushing it so hard. It's like you have to start asking yourself, why are they doing this? What
Yeah.
is this for? You know? And I think
Mhm.
that's where that Bitcoin, don't trust verify, it's applicable to everything.
It is. It is.
I'm
It really
trusting
is.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't trust I
Um,
question everything. I question
I'm telling you,
everything.
my mom said, you can tell me that the sky is blue, and I will go outside and be like, I don't know if it's really
Mm.
blue,
Yeah.
like, because we believe too easily. We trust easily.
Mhm. Yeah.
And especially
They
with
made
all
us
that's come
believe,
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't trust, even when the pandemic happened, I was like, "Oh, nope, not for me. Nope, I'm
yep,
not doing it." I was like, "I don't even care if I lose my job. I do not care. I'm not." And my
yep.
family, oh, I was the black sheep of the family. And thank
Mhm.
goodness I didn't let them touch my son.
You're still alive.
I'm still alive.
I
Listen,
thought that
I'm still alive.
I thought we all were gonna die. Like, oh, like
Right? Oh my goodness. They wow. It was really
yeah,
bad. Like I went through a lot during the 2020. People were like
yeah.
saying, "Because of you, people are gonna die." I'm like, "Whatever, whatever. You
And
got
now
the
you
thing and you're sick. Weren't you not supposed to get the thing if you
yep.
and you're sick? You have it."
No, no, maybe they changed it. Remember the definition of a vaccine changed? they
Mhm.
what that really truly meant. Oh no, it just what did they say? It doesn't
It
stop
gives you
you from getting
immunity,
it now.
right? It gives you
Yes,
immunity,
and it lessens
but
your
you still get
symptoms,
it.
like
But you still get it.
some voice.
It gives you
Make
immunity, but you still get it. Make that make
make up your
sense.
mind. Make up your Oh man, when you think about that time period, and that's so for me, the kind of wake up call for me in terms of money and like how corrupt it was for me was when I worked overseas as a contractor in Afghanistan, and
Mhm.
I was at the embassy. And when I saw how much money we were spending to make not the people of the country that we were in better, but the accommodations of where we were living better, and how many contracts that I would see, the dollar amount of these contracts, and how we were living. I was living in, a luxury, I would say a luxury building, something that you would
Mhm.
see in downtown or a gentrified area where they're putting these
Mhm.
luxury condos and things like that. We had state of the art swimming pool. We had an Olympic size swimming pool. We had an NBA size basketball court. And I understand from perspective of wanting it to be comfortable for people who are living and working over there. But if you looked outside the walls and you looked outside of what was going on from where we were, you're talking about we were in a poor, war torn area, and here we are living in this luxury condo and having these luxury amenities, but yet this country that we're in has been collapsed, has been destroyed, and we're there
Yeah,
like feeling,
they're not really
just
helping those countries. They're pretty much,
no.
sending money, but then all the contractors get to keep all the money. So the money comes right back. But
Yes.
there's a few certain people that keep all that money. But who gets
Yes.
stuck with the bill? The taxpayers get stuck with the bill,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know?
Yes. And that was like my like wake up call to like, oh wow, something's really wrong. And
Yeah.
then so like that's when I started reading Creature from Jekyll Island like a few years later. And then it was just
Mhm.
like pandemic happened, and it was just like, oh wow. So not only can we can collapse countries, we can collapse the economy and then print more money, also can do fear tactics to make people think that they have to do something and, fear for their lives because honestly, people were in fear. Like they
Oh,
were
yes.
scared and they
Yes.
purposely did it by the media and the propaganda.
Mhm.
And it's just like, wow, this like, oh my God.
That's their
It's like
tactic, the
textbook.
fear, you know?
Yes.
They
Yes.
scare you,
Yes.
and then they can do whatever they want. They can make
Yeah.
you do anything they want, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that like, with Bitcoin and everything that it represents is why we're so pro Bitcoin because, Bitcoin doesn't fund wars.
No.
Bitcoin is decentralized. So like when you think about a health perspective, if the health, system was decentralized, people would see how much stuff actually costs. You wouldn't have to request an itemized statement. You see
Mhm.
how much, all right, if I pay in cash or if I pay insurance, which one is cheaper? Like you could see all these different things. And
Yeah.
it's like the total opposite of what's actually going on in the world,
Mhm. Totally.
you know? Yeah. Um, so in terms of Bitcoin, and we've touched upon so many subjects, and I feel like I could talk to you for hours. So I don't
Say it, girl,
oh my
same.
God. Yes, like, oh my, we could go down so many different rabbit holes.
I knew this our chat would be fun because we have so
Yes,
much in
yes.
common.
So much in common. Um, I think, when you think about like what Bitcoin means to you, like what is something that you definitely want to pass down to your son? Hopefully the older son, we can get him orange pill, but like what is something that
I
you
will
want them to
try.
know? You're gonna try. We're gonna be so hopeful
Yes.
that you want to pass down to them in terms of like your Bitcoin journey and like what it means to you and what you want it to mean to them?
I I just want, when I got divorced, I was really scared because I wasn't making a lot of
Mhm.
money. I didn't know how I was gonna make ends
Right,
meet. And
right.
I just, in my mind, I just didn't want to depend on the government. I knew that I was not gonna make it. I didn't have any savings. I was starting all over again at 40. My fear has always been to depend on the government.
Yeah,
It's not enough. And I
yeah.
wanted to be independent. I wanted to be free. So I really want to pass down to my kids that you have to do what you need to do. You have to learn about finances. Bitcoin is freedom. Bitcoin is hope.
Yes,
Bitcoin gave me
yes,
hope.
yes.
And I want them to learn because I want them to feel the same thing. Right now, I'm not scared about getting older and
Right,
living off, the government because I won't need to.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, that's incredible. I think it gives us so much hope and the idea of true freedom just because it's so easy to think that the government's going to take care of you. And it's like a lot of people will believe that the government would never lie to them. But it's just like if you haven't noticed what's
Yeah.
happened over the last, like, let's just go back to even until my dad was, here from 2027, that 2028 period. And you just go from there until now.
Mhm.
And you just look at all the different things where they try to take your freedom from you, they try to give you less hope. They're not going to save you. People don't realize that. Like the government's not going to save you. It's not going to help you.
I mean, I
Um,
recently bought a hat from a friend of mine's merch store, Humble.
okay, okay.
She has a hat that says, "Make Orwell fiction again." And on the side of the hat says 1984. You may
Yes,
have seen it. I
yes.
tweeted about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's
I saw it
true.
tweet. It is
Everything in
true.
that book is becoming a reality. It's scary. It's so
Yes,
scary. That was supposed to
yes.
be
I
fiction.
mhm. I my daughter turned 1. We like my husband and I are really big on books. So I try to I usually give people like ideas of things that she needs or wants or whatever. And that was a book that I included in a request because I asked for all books for when she turned 1. And I mostly asked for books that I thought that would be either banned or not available or you couldn't find by the time she
Mm,
gets like, maybe a 20-year-old or even as she ages. Because like
yeah.
these books, people are even like they're even changing introductions. They're changing like I'm trying to think of my cousin was recently reading, oh, I can't think of it right now. But they changed the introduction of it so that, oh, what's the one with the kids? Lord of the Flies. There it is.
Oh,
The the
they
most
they
recent
changed it?
edition of the most recent edition of Lord of the Flies, the introduction is like a warning, kinda like, "Oh, we don't support this, and it's a little graphic, and this is what it really means," and I'm like, "What?" When I read Lord of the Flies in high school, like, it like, we read it. There wasn't no, like, precursor or, like, warning, like, why do we need a warning of a book?
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's funny, in 1984, I'm looking at it right now, it's on the bookshelf. I
Mhm.
specifically put that one on the list. Um, just because I don't know what they're gonna do later about books, like what they're gonna
Yeah.
change, what
Yeah. I
information
just I just
is gonna
I
be
recently
different.
just got a hard copy just so I can have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just order a hard copy. I have it on
Oh,
Audible,
good.
but
Good.
I'm trying to get hard copies of all these books. I have the one for The
Mhm.
Creature of Jekyll Island, even though I have it on Audible.
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
having I'm all these books. I'm gonna keep as a hard copy, and hopefully I'll get my
Right.
son to read them.
Yeah.
And you
He
never
will one
know.
day.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna ban them. You're right. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't know. So now we can do a little fun part, right? So I have this
Okay.
thing where I do rapid fire, and it's not really like rapid fire. It's just like some random questions about Bitcoin and money and just the journey of you as a mom. So are you ready?
Already.
Okay. All right. So the first question is, Bitcoin in 3 words. How would you describe Bitcoin in 3 words?
Freedom, hope, sovereignty.
Yeah, I agree with all those. I think it's all those, like, true freedom, true hope, true sovereignty, not what we're experiencing now.
Mhm.
All right, next question. So, you can pick any of your children, whichever ones you wanna choose. It doesn't matter which one you
Mhm.
choose. But what do you remember, what was the first thing that they asked you about when it came to money?
Hmm.
Or something that they said funny about money? Like
Um, well, the only thing I can remember is, like, my son listened to the podcast, and
mhm,
I was speaking about Bitcoin and money. He was like, "Wow, that sounds interesting."
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I knew
Yeah,
that
no, that's great.
the seed was planted there. I believe it was.
Yes. He was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, this
because
is I'm interested."
like that yeah, like, it was like a light bulb went off, like, "Oh, that makes sense. That makes
Mhm,
sense." And it's
mhm.
funny because
Yeah,
he's really like, really anti-ice and stuff.
okay.
So, I'm not gonna
He's
go
like
there, but yeah.
right, right, right.
He loves to talk about politics and everything, but
Oh, really?
yeah, he does. So, I don't know, I tell
Alright.
him, maybe he should study, I don't
Criminal
know, maybe
justice or something.
yeah, criminal justice. Because right now he
Yeah,
doesn't know what he wants to do, but
right,
I would like him to go to college. I want him to have that experience like I did.
right, right, right. Because
So,
it is a fun
hopefully
experience, like, I
it is. Oh my gosh, it was those are one of the most it was a fun time in my life. My dad was very protective, so I was like, "I'm not
uh-huh.
staying here." So I went to live in the dorms. So I
Oh,
experienced
nice.
that life. Yeah, I experienced the dorm
Yep,
life, and I did everything,
right,
I graduated. I went to school. I didn't even know what I wanted to study. I just knew that I needed to go to school because my dad wanted me to go
right.
to school. I was the first one of my
Mhm.
family to go to school of my siblings. I did everything to make my dad happy. I was the
Right.
oldest. I had to lead by example. So I was
Yeah.
being kind of and my sisters, they're like,
Yeah.
you're his favorite. I'm like, I'm not his favorite, but I'm scared of him. I'm scared of
I don't
him, so
wanna
I have to do what
disappoint
he
him.
says. Exactly. I didn't want to disappoint my dad. I wanted my dad to be
Yeah.
proud of me. And when I
Mhm.
graduated college, that was one of the most proudest moments in my dad. For me, I was
Mhm.
really proud that I made him proud, you
Yeah.
know?
No, it's I mean, the shame is, making the shame is like we've talked about, shame is diminishing and, like families, used to pride themselves on their last name and, how you represent yourself in this world and like I want that back. You know what I mean? Like I want that
Mhm.
for my children. Like I want them to know that like we have, we should care about how we're living. We should care about what we look like. We should care about how we're presenting ourselves. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's crazy how that is just it's like it's so different. I know that changes happen with generation and generation, but there's still a big difference between now and like 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more questions, 2 more questions.
Okay.
So, again, pick any of your children, whichever one you wanna use. If they had an option of snacks, so food, snacks, or sats, what would they choose?
They would choose snacks.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
I
they're not
mean,
there
maybe I
yet.
would choose
They're not orange
yeah,
pilled yet.
right, not yet. But, like,
Not yet.
sometimes, like, you're hungry. I need a snack right now. I'm
Of
hungry.
course, there's a plenty of healthy snacks. Oh, I
They
buy plenty of
are.
healthy snacks. Oh, yes. So you can snack. Just don't snack
I can
too
snack.
much.
Oh, I don't snack on, like, chips or things like that, but, like, we
Nah.
have fruit, we have nuts, like there's so many different things that you can snack on that is not like a processed item that you see on like, a grocery store aisle that can last for 2 months. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
healthy snacks. Yeah,
there are. There's a lot of healthy snacks, Always make sure
right.
you read the ingredients. If there's an
Yes,
ingredient,
yes.
yeah, you don't understand, don't buy it.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so for let's do your middle son. If there was anything that he could hodl for 10 years, what do you think it would be?
Oh, Bitcoin, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause he's already DCAing, like, he's
If
doing
it
you
He
know,
is.
he's orange pilled. In my
He
opinion, he's orange
is.
pilled.
I think he is. I think he is.
I think so. I think so. He sees
Mhm.
mom doing it, like, oh, you know what else? So much stuff I wanna talk to you about, but it's like, even, like, your fitness journey, like, that's like proof of work. You're literally showing him proof of work in just your day-to-day life, like,
Oh, girl.
Bitcoiner.
Listen, working out has literally saved my life. I think I've said it before. After my divorce, my son was diagnosed 5 months after I had asked my ex-husband for a divorce, so
Wow.
my mind was in a divorce. My mind was not in, like, your son is gonna die, you know? And
Right,
that all
right, right.
just I had so much going on. We had to sell our house to
Yep.
pay for treatment. It was a mess. I
Mhm.
went through they say that, like, the 3 biggest things that you can go through is a divorce, an illness, and the sale of a house, real estate, and I was
Yeah,
going through all 3 at the same time. I don't Sometimes I ask myself, "How did I make it through all of that?"
yeah,
And
yeah, and here you
exercising,
are.
and here I am. Here I am. But
Mhm,
but I've had my ups and downs, but
mhm,
that's just life. But I'm telling you,
yeah,
and exercise is the best antidepressant. There's no
mhm,
pill in the world that
mhm,
can do what
mhm,
exercise and sunlight can do for you.
mhm, mhm,
And
yeah,
I'm proof. I am proof. I'm still
yes,
here.
you're still here, and,
Yeah.
this journey of yours, like, Imma have to circle back with you and, like, do a part 2 because there's so much that, like, I wanna talk about and I just feel like your journey and your story, and it's like, I wanna like, we're just being uncomfortable. I tell people you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
it's like you being in those rooms, those clubhouse rooms to, like, all the different things that have happened to you and, like, how you went to Portugal and you met a Twitter friend, another
Yep.
big and it's just like it's so much that people can relate to your journey and your story that I just wanna get out there. So I'm definitely
Mhm.
gonna do a part 2 with you just because,
There's so
I just
much to
feel
talk
like
about.
there's so much to talk about, and I can't do it within like, this segment. But I think that, like, what I appreciate most about you and, like, when I see you on, Twitter, X, whatever people wanna call it, is, like, your honesty. And that's why I was like, "Oh, she's real. Like, I need to speak to her," and I truly, truly
Nice.
appreciate that
Thank you.
because
Thank you so much
yeah,
for
like
reaching out. I was like, "She wants to
no,
talk to
no.
me?"
Yes, yeah. And I think that, like, you showing your journey and you talk about, like, I see and first of all, let me just tell you this caveat, your dad it was so good looking. Oh my god. That
Girl, I could tell you stories from our teachers. Like, our teachers would hit on our dad, like, yeah. I'll talk about it
yeah.
on part 2.
Yeah, and mom was beautiful. Mom, both of your parents, obviously, you're a beautiful woman too. So the
Thank
parents
you.
produce what they look like, right? Your
Yeah.
mom is beautiful. Your father was very
Yeah.
handsome, and it's just like
Mhm.
for you to like be so open and raw about like I see when I knew your dad wasn't here anymore, but just like with your son, your youngest son, and your dad, and
Mhm.
just like the journey of where Bitcoin has taken you and here we are. I just think it's just like I think this is what Bitcoin is about, and that's why like I
Yeah.
wanted to speak to real everyday people because when people talk about retail isn't in Bitcoin, because people don't showcase retail. When you see podcasts, and it's no shade to other podcasts, I think each podcast has a purpose. But I think also too, like sometimes when you see the same people and you see like that same person in multiple podcasts or that same person.
Yeah.
And I love all the people. I like all these people,
Yeah, me
but
too.
and these people have stories that you can relate to, but it's like that person who you're
It's not the
messaging
only
that
story, you know? It's not the only
exactly.
story. I believe that the plebs should be speaking, the ones that are not anonymous, because we have to respect that. But
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
I believe that you telling your story can help the new ones, the people
Yes.
that are new in
Yeah.
the space, and you
Yeah.
speaking about your mistakes. When you talk about your mistakes, it'll help someone else not make the same mistake.
Mhm.
So I think people need to
Mhm.
speak up and they need to
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
But
You're really honest and you've been so vocal about your journey and how I found you. And so, like, if there was like one piece of advice or something that you would like to share as a Bitcoiner, as a parent to another parent, what would it be?
it would be to teach your kids about financial education, teach them about what assets are, teach them about
Mm,
money, and get them, just basic Bitcoin books, just so that they can get
yeah,
started, so they can learn. And I'm pretty sure
yeah,
they'll go down that rabbit hole, like just like we did.
right, right. Yeah, that's great. My last question is if your children were to watch this, would they watch it now or they watch it as they get older, what
Mhm.
is something that you want to tell them or leave them with?
Well, that I just want that I love them and I just want
Mhm.
the best for them. I want them to have a better life than I have. I don't want them
Yeah.
to make the same mistakes that I did. I want
Mhm.
them to have a happy life, have families, just live a meaningful life, purposeful life.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm already putting it in the air that I'm gonna do part two. I truly, truly, truly appreciate this conversation so much that we
No,
can't even
thank
I
you for
can't even
having
like
me.
yes, like I have to do a part two. I've look the conversation was so great that my system was like, oh, I can't even record anymore, but it's okay. We're still continuing. But
That's great.
do you mind sharing where people can find you? I found you on X, so just do you mind sharing your name and things like that?
Yeah, you can find me on MX. It's Midy Reyes.
Mhm.
And I have a little fitness page on Instagram. It's called Midy Fit. So,
Okay, okay.
I need to post more on there, but I try to post, just good things about working out and exercises. Sometimes I post my food.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. Proof of
Yeah.
work. I'm all about proof of work.
Yeah.
Well, Nate,
Of
thank you so much for talking to me today. I truly, truly, truly appreciate
course.
the conversation.
No,
Yeah.
it's my pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye. All right,
Bye-bye.
Mitty.
Yeah. Sitting at the table talking life and money. Simple little lessons that can shape somebody.
This is Raising Satoshi, where we grow together, building better futures, one small step forever, one conversation at a time.